The Washington Commanders have hopefully found their QB of the future, and we have a lot of things to get into this video because Sam Howell has a lot going for him. A lot of good things, some bad things, but mostly good, and I'm really excited to talk about this one. We are currently finishing up our player prediction series. There is one more video after this. We got to do the Lions player, and then after that, we are done with this series. On to team predictions, and then Madden, whenever Madden drops in 2 weeks from now. So, a lot of exciting content on the way, and also be sure to stick around in today's video because he might just be a big late round fantasy football steal for any of you guys looking for some later round quarterbacks that could have a lot of upside. So, first off, usually I have the stats up for the player to kind of go off of just so we can all be on the same page, give you guys some reference for how they performed and everything. But Sam doesn't have that, and that's what makes this really exciting is that there's actually a lot of things going for him with not a lot of, stuff stat-wise. But the game he did get in against the Cowboys, I will zoom in here just so you guys can see this. He had 169 passing yards, 1 touchdown to 1 interception, and the Cowboys defense is very, very good. So the 1 interception is, very understandable. But Sam Howell in that game actually looked pretty good. His deep ball looked really good. He seemed pretty calm under pressure considering his, first game and also going up against a very good defense. But I think the most exciting thing to talk about is really the situation he's in as far as the weapons around him, because Washington is a very underrated team going into 2023. I really do believe that. And there is some downsides to the team that we will talk about. But overall, the team itself is actually pretty good, and I feel like doesn't get talked about enough. And maybe that's because of the question mark at quarterback. But I actually have a lot of confidence in Sam Howell. So to go over to the depth chart here just so we can see everything, he has Brian Robinson Jr. as running back, with Antonio Gibson as the backup, who should see the field a decent amount as well. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel as the receivers, Logan Thomas as his tight end. Now, these receivers are very, very good. Curtis Samuel is a bit more of a playmaker, almost Deebo Samuel type. Not on the same level at all. It just means skill-wise and game-wise, it's pretty similar. Terry McLaurin is one of, if not the most underrated receiver in the entire National Football League. I would say McLaurin's up there, DJ Moore's up there, Tyler Lockett's up there, and then insert someone else to make 4, I guess, for some of the most underrated. But McLaurin is definitely up there. Year after year, he puts up amazing numbers despite his quarterback, who has not been good in some time. But McLaurin is always so consistent. Jahan Dotson going to his second year. This guy had a great year last year. He just got injured and missed some time. When he was in the game, he performed very, very well, and he was actually a pretty good red zone target as well. So that provides already some very a lot of consistency at receiver for Sam. And I think another thing I want to talk about is Brian Robinson Jr. He played last year after getting shot in the knee, and still had 700 yards as a rookie. So I'm going to guess he has a much bigger year than that, which also can take some pressure off of Sam Howell if he does struggle. They still have some consistency at running back. And even Antonio Gibson, who's not a bad running back, he's just kind of been replaced and just, a little inconsistent there, but still pretty solid out of the backfield, at least for in the receiving game. But the other thing I want to talk about as far as kind of the downsides to Washington, I mentioned how there's a lot of good. There is also some bad, and that's being in the NFC East. They are in a very, very tough division. They might be the worst team in this division, which is saying something because they're actually a pretty good team, but you have the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Giants. In my opinion, I think it's very close between the Giants and Washington. I do think they are probably worse than the Cowboys and Eagles, but it is all very close. This division went from one of the worst in football years ago to now one of the best. And I think it's going to stay that way. Now, a major thing to talk about, though, when it comes to the division is the Washington defense. And this is a Sam Howell video. I just want to give some context, though. They didn't have Chase Young last year. He really wasn't himself. If he comes back to kind of his true form of what he was his rookie year, you also add Emmanuel Forbes. I mean, this defense is pretty good. It's a very well-rounded team, and it definitely gives everybody a chance to compete. And I think Sam Howell is actually take a big advantage of that because he has a lot of weapons around him. He looked very comfortable last year. You have an entire offseason this year. And even in training camp so far, he's actually showed out. So far in training camp, the connection to Terry McLaurin has already looked really good. Sam Howell actually very specifically had a very nice deep pass to the sideline to Terry McLaurin. I believe he had a touchdown pass to Jahan Dotson at one point. So he already is getting very comfortable with his weapons. And I think this could actually be a very big year for Washington. Because of that division, there's not a lot of room for error. If you happen to lose a few, you're going to sink to the bottom because this division is very tough. very hard to win. And if teams happen to slip, that will give the other an opportunity to slide up. And I think Washington can definitely be one of those teams to slide up and really surprise some people. Another thing to consider is that Jacoby Brissett is the backup. And I know he's not the best quarterback. I honestly think he is like just kind of solid or below average. But he's a veteran. He can definitely mentor, and I'm sure he has been mentoring Sam Howell, which can be huge for rookies sitting out a year, being mentored by whoever, and just kind of taking that time to adjust. That's what Patrick Mahomes did. Not saying Sam's going to be like Patrick Mahomes, but it's, you know, possible to have the same sort of results with each of their respective ceilings being reached. But something else I want to talk about is the schedule. Sam Howell is going to be tested his first year. There is no way around it. You play Denver, that's an amazing defense. You play the Eagles twice a year, that's an amazing defense. You play New England, that's an amazing defense. The Cowboys again, that's a great defense. Seattle is a great defense. Miami should probably have a fairly good defense this year as well. Ramsey being hurt hurts him a little bit, but still. And then the Jets and the 49ers to end the year. That is a lot of very good defenses, especially secondaries you're going up against. So he's going to have to adjust, you know, pretty quickly. I think it might be a rough start. I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles for his first however many games and then kind of gets better as the year goes on. Because even though he sits out a year, it doesn't mean it's going to click for him immediately. It might be an entire year of playing for it to click, or it might be right off the bat. We have no idea. But I think the biggest thing for him is that he's in a very good position to succeed. Even if he doesn't right away, he has reliable weapons. He has honestly pretty good coaching. I really do think that he's in a very good spot, especially what he's already shown from his deep ball. I mean, McLaurin is quite the threat all over the field. Jahan Dotson is a threat. I mean, this might be quite the pass-heavy team, honestly, which means in that case, maybe Antonio Gibson gets in more for pass-catching downs. I don't know. But I do think that they're going to be more pass-heavy than what it might seem. And again, I guess there's no way of knowing that, but just seeing what they're kind of building there, and especially bringing over, I cannot remember his last name, Eric whatever from the Chiefs, the offensive coordinator who's now their coach, or their offensive coordinator, I believe. And I saw a clip today, him already kind of incorporating that, like, you know, Chiefs goal line play, like, where they snap it and shovel past the tight end. So they've got good coaching. They've got creative plays. They have a lot of experience on the roster, except for Sam. But I do think because of the veteran experience around him, it's going to really help him out. And I think Washington will actually be in a very good spot and be playing some meaningful games in that December, January range this year. But guys, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Finish up this series, and then we are just about to Madden. So thanks for all the support. I do really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.